I swear. Life is wild. Sometimes you think you know who someone is, and then, bam, you find out you had no clue at all. Let me tell you about a time when a little kindness I barely thought about flipped my whole world upside down. You know how you see people on the street, struggling, and maybe you help, maybe you don't, but you never expect anything to come from it? That's how it was for me, and this guy everyone just called Papa J, the crippled beggar who hung around my tiny food stall. People laughed at him, but nobody really looked. Not like I did. My name's Esther, by the way, yeah, just Esther. No last name, nothing fancy. I was 24, running a scrappy food stall under this big old tree on the edge of Legos. I'd wake up before sunrise, walk to my stall in these worn-out slippers, and start cooking rice, beans, yam porridge, whatever I could scrape together. My shop was just old wood and rusty metal, but it was mine, and I'd always greet every customer with a smile, even if my stomach was rumbling. That's just how I was raised, I guess, or maybe it's because I'd lost everything so young that I held tight to whatever good I could find. Anyway, folks used to say I was too soft, Mama TT. This Annie who sold veggies down the road would walk by and tease me. Esther, why you always smiling, girl? Struggling just like us. I'd laugh and say, crying won't fill the pot. Annie, so why bother? It was half a joke, half the truth. I didn't have much, but I tried to help where I could. Some days, that meant giving food to someone who couldn't pay. And every day, like clockwork, Papa J would roll up to my shop in this old busted wheelchair, legs wrapped in dirty bandages, clothes all ripped, head down, not begging, just there. Most people crossed the street or made faces when he came around. Kids would whisper, some folks even held their noses. But I couldn't do that. I'd call out to him, Papa J, you hungry? And I'd give him whatever I had, sometimes even a last plate I'd save for myself. He'd look at me with these tired, grateful eyes and eat slowly, like he hadn't had a real meal in days. And, you know, he never asked for anything. Not once. Just sat quiet, hands on his lap, as if he was waiting for something only he could see. One day, though, things got weird. The sun was scorching, and I just finished serving 2 schoolboys when this slick black car pulled up. Out steps this tall guy, clean white shirt. Shiny shoes looked like he belonged on the other side of town, not in the dust with us. He didn't even look at me, just stared at Papa J, like he was trying to solve a puzzle. Asked for some jollof rice, but his mind was clearly somewhere else. He took his food, glanced back at Papa J, and drove off. I tried to shake it off, but the next morning, I knew something was wrong. See, Papa J didn't show up. Not at sunrise, not at noon. I started asking around. Mama TD shrugged, said maybe he'd moved on. The bike man just spat and said maybe Papa J was tired of sitting in one place. But I knew better. That man never missed a day, rain or shine. For 3 days, I kept looking down the road, serving food on autopilot, not tasting a bite myself, just worried sick that something bad had happened. Then, on the 4th morning, everything changed. I was chopping onions, trying not to let the smoke sting my eyes too much, when this stranger in a red cap and expensive shoes strode up and handed me a brown envelope. Read it and don't tell anyone, he said, and just like that, he was gone. Inside was a note. Come to Green Hill Hotel by 4 p.m. Don't tell anyone. From a friend. Yeah, you know what I mean, the kind of note that makes your heart drop to your shoes. I was scared, but curiosity got the better of me. Locked up my stall early, whispered a little prayer, and headed out. The hotel was something out of a movie, all glass and marble, and I swear my hands were shaking when the security guards waved me through. A guy in a black suit led me down this endless hallway, then stopped at a big door. Someone's waiting inside, he said, and for a second I almost turned back, but I didn't. I opened the door, and there he was. Papa J, but not the Papa J I knew. His hair was neat, his shirt was white with gold buttons, and his wheelchair looked like it cost more than my whole stall. He looked me in the eye and smiled, calm and steady. Esther, come in. I sat down, my head spinning. That's when he dropped the bomb. My name's not Papa J. It's Chief George. I'm a billionaire. I couldn't even breathe. All I managed was, why'd you pretend to be poor? He looked at me, real serious, and said, I wanted to find someone who helps because it's right, not because they want something back. You gave when you had nothing. You never laughed at me, never turned away. He told me he picked 10 people like me every year, people who'd shown real kindness and helped them become millionaires, because he believed we'd do the same for others. I sat there, tearing up, not knowing what to say. And then, as if things weren't surreal enough, Chief George, yeah, the guy I'd only ever seen in a busted wheelchair, stood up and walked toward me. I kid you not. I just stared. Why pretend you couldn't walk? I asked. He shrugged. People show their true hearts when they think there's nothing to gain. He smiled, handed me a set of keys, and said, "Come with me. I want to show you something." We rode out in this convoy of SUVs like I was in some movie until we stopped in front of the biggest, fanciest restaurant I'd ever seen. The sign out front? It read Esther's Place, home of sweet meals. My knees buckled. I thought it was a prank, but he just smiled and told me it was mine. The keys, the restaurant, the whole shebang. I walked inside, trying not to cry. Marble floors, gold-trimmed tables, a kitchen bigger than my whole childhood home. He said, "You fed me when you had nothing. Now I want to give you a place where kings and queens eat." I just knelt right there, sobbing not because of the money, but because someone finally saw me, you know? From that day on, I was the boss. Real cooks in white hats, waiters with big smiles, my name on the door. But I never forgot where I came from. I started a charity every week. Our food trucks went out to feed the hungry. I'd walk up to folks under bridges and at bus stops, hand them hot meals and tell them, "You're not forgotten." Someone asked me once, "Madam, why do you do this?" I just tapped my heart and said, "Kindness got me here. Got to keep it going." And sometimes, as the sun set and I watched those trucks roll out, I'd look up and whisper, "Thank you, Chief George, for seeing me." My life changed forever, but my heart stayed the same. So, yeah, if there's one thing this taught me, it's that kindness is never wasted. You never know who's watching or how your small good deed might come back around. What about you? Where do you stand on all this? Was Chief George right, testing people like that, or is that just another trick? Drop your thoughts below. I'd love to hear what kindness means to you and where you draw the line between giving and getting used. Let's talk, because stories like this, they're just the start of what we can change together.